In a recent BBC propaganda film, Cops, or Looting the Motorist, the BBC were promoting the revenue collection service known as Bedfordshire Police. The programme revealed that their revenue collection agents, or policy enforcement officers, have to issue the tickets and make arrests to hit targets. These policy enforcers are not to be confused with police constables who are being withdrawn from public service due to them having a duty to protect and serve the public. In this programme, two girly revenue enforcers rolled their eyes and revelled in collecting points. Yes, the police have to get 300 points a month. A fixed penalty is worth 5 credits and a whopping 20 credits for an arrest. One of the policy enforcement cops stated, "They naturally fall into place during your working day." This was later contradicted as the cops giggled over taking it in turns as to who was to get the points from stopping motorists. One moment of clarity came when it was stated, to some extent, our discretion has been taken away. The agenda behind all this, apart from revenue collection, is much more sinister. The cops are using powers given to them in 2006 to take your fingerprint or photo by force if you decline. Remember that Lockheed Martin and other private surveillance companies have access to all your personal data. There is no data protection for the public. It is there for the government to block uncomfortable requests for freedom of information to the public. Conspiracy theory. Check out Ministry of Justice failed to respond to FOI request on landofthefreeuk. So the police are using powers that should only be used for criminal offences for civil debt. This is why the police and debt collection agencies, together with local councils, are all working in partnership. Conspiracy theory. One policy officer states that when police ask for a driving licence, it is an offence not to give it. How many people carry their driving licence with them? And asking for something is not demanding it with the force of law. They check the driver details with the DVLA, so why is it an offence not to have a driving licence on you? It isn't. These policy enforcement officers accuse one man of having a guilty conscience, thought police. One motorist who gets stopped for having tinted windows lights up in the back of the police car and gets threatened with an offence of criminal damage for smoking. When it is noticed that one victim has been fined for a slight dent in his tyre, which was found after getting the initial revenue out of him for some other trifle, one of the giggling droids states if he had a blowout at 30 miles an hour, he would have a crash. The worrying thing is they actually believe the lies they are telling themselves. If they think a puncture at 30 miles an hour would cause you to crash, should they be allowed to pursue the public at up to 130 miles an hour? A big part of the show is dedicated to stopping cars with tinted windows and checking them for tintedness. They also state that the reason they stop cars with tinted windows is we can't see who's in the vehicle and if that person is meant to be driving that vehicle. When the cops pull over a member of the public, one of the policy officers states, ignorance is no excuse. The maxim actually states, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Leaving the word law out says it all. I would say, if you refer to a maxim in law, do not leave out the word law if it is referred to. Unless, of course, you work for the courts, the council, or policy enforcement officers. Conspiracy theory. Britain's new green taxes are to be the highest in the world. Chris Huhne, Energy Secretary, committed the UK to legally binding cuts in greenhouse gases to be fully implemented by 2025. The carbon budget follows the recommendation in December by the Committee on Climate Change, described as an independent body of experts that advises the government, or a group of paid liars who have been proved wrong by real experts by their rewriting of history and denial of all contrary evidence. Real experts like Christopher Monckton, David Bellamy and Piers Corbyn continue with their conspiracy theory in daring to debunk the carbon scam. It is an inconvenient truth for Al Gore and his partners in crime. But do remember, global warming has nothing to do with the sun. Conspiracy theory. An article in the Daily Mail states huge mirrors in the sky will be the future of tackling climate change. Papers from the UN science body on geoengineering were discussed at a meeting in Peru. The Guardian reported this could also include producing light-coloured crops and using iron filings in the world's oceans. Other ideas include spraying seawater into clouds and painting streets and roofs white. There is worry among these scientists that even if their plans do work, they could cause irreparable damage due to uncertainty surrounding the technology. Bristol University developed a hose device which was held up by balloons to send sulfates into the stratosphere. Land of the Free have also been trying to build a rocket out of a cardboard box and some fairy liquid bottles. The rocket would contain liquid ice cream to cool the upper atmosphere. Their attempts have been frustrated by the lack of response from UN scientists. However, chemtrails or geoengineering is carried out on a daily basis throughout NATO countries. This is not mentioned by any of these scientists and the government, who will not admit to doing it. Watch the feature-length film What on Earth Are They Spraying by G. Edward Griffin. Conspiracy theory. But cows are creating greenhouse gas, and every time you breathe out, you are killing the earth. Hence all these community initiatives and festivals promoting carbon tax and the now discredited global warming scam. But that's a conspiracy theory. Residents of Warner Flats in the London Borough of Waltham Forest are being forced to pay a premium on their buildings insurance due to a perceived threat of terrorism. The insurers, Freehold Managers plc, have notified leaseholders they must pay an extra £68 per year due to the foiled plot in 2006 to blow up transatlantic airliners. 3 men from the borough were arrested and convicted of terrorist offences, which of course included being found with plastic bottles and hydrogen peroxide. Walthamstow MP Stella Creasy said she was furious and described it as extremely offensive. A concerned resident contacted the company's insurance department, who said, in this day and age, it is prudent for the landlord to cover any insured peril relevant to the portfolio. They continued, the Leasehold Valuation Tribunal in the past had confirmed it is reasonable to include terrorism. They went on to say this could not be deemed as mis-selling insurance, and referring to a report covering the 2006 case. She added, please find attached a newspaper article showing that terrorist activity has been present in Walthamstow. For full story of the liquid bomb hoax, go to www.terroronthetube.co.uk. But please take out adequate insurance before visiting the site.